Level of exposure is a major factor in what prevents a life of mediocrity. It's what determines the capacity of our minds to reason beyond ordinary. The environment we live in, the external factors we are exposed to, usually determines who we are and who we will become, way more than our personal will and ambition. You obviously might not be able to control these factors for yourself most times, but at least make sure you help those you are able to directly impact. What's up, people of this weird planet called Earth? It's another HMI Saturday, and this time around, I promise it's going to be a really short episode, as I have just one thing to say about today's history's most influential human, Homer. Homer was the Greek poet who composed the Iliad and the Odyssey, and that's all. I told you it was going to be a short one, but yes, I admit it too. That was way too short, so let's put a little bit of flesh into it. What is the Iliad and what is the Odyssey? Who exactly is Homer, and why did he become famous just because of these two projects? Well, firstly, what do we know about the life of Homer, Homer? Almost nothing, actually. In fact, some say he was just a myth, just like so many Greek gods. But some say he was a real man, a blind poet who has been termed the greatest poet in history for his two masterpieces, the Iliad and the Odyssey, which were said to have been orchestrated since the 8th century, even before the Greek alphabets were invented. Wow. The Iliad is a 15,693 line poem that tells the story of the first Trojan War in ancient Greek. Well, if some people can't remember the film narrating this particular war, at least they'll remember the story of the Trojan horse. Yeah, that was part of the story gotten from the Iliad. Then the Odyssey is said to be a 12,000 line poem, a sequel of the Iliad, which described the journey of the Greek hero Odysseus, king of Ithaca, and his journey home after the Trojan War, which lasted 10 years. After which his journey home lasted an additional 10 years, which saw the death of all his crewmates. Apparently, they said he offended the sea god Poseidon. Odysseus was assumed dead, and in his absence, his wife Penelope and son Telemachus had to deal with different suitors who wanted Odysseus' wife's hand in marriage. I'm sure you were already enjoying the story, but that was out of line. Now, these aren't even a scratch on the surface of how legendary the two ancient works of art, the Iliad and the Odyssey, are. But I'm sure you get the point. Originally, because of the large volumes of these poems, they were made for listeners rather than readers, as they were performed orally by poets called rhapsodies. I'm sure the word sounds familiar. Rhapsodies, rappers, you get. But despite the volume, the written texts have been produced in various languages around the world. And even though almost nothing is known about the supposed author, Homer the poet, or if he ever existed, these legendary voluminous poems have been the basis of many studies on Western literature, archaeology, and historical literature argument. Now that's what made today's historical human influential. I told you today's episode will be short. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you took valuable notes of my intro because it has a deeply intended meaning. Well then, till next HMIH podcast on the first Saturday in September 2022, hopefully. Peace.